Hello, Commanders fans. Today we have some hot news that you can't miss, so get ready because there's a lot of important information coming your way. Before we begin, we'd like to take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel, activate the notification bell, and stay up to date on all the news about our Washington Commanders. Don't forget to leave a like, which greatly strengthens our community and helps bring this content to the most passionate fans of the team. Now, without further ado, let's get straight to today's news. Washington Commanders coach Dan Quinn deserves more time, says Insider. Washington Commanders coach Dan Quinn has been ranked by ESPN as the 10th best hire in the last 5 NFL coaching cycles. Furthermore, columnist Bill Barnwell believes Quinn deserves a longer tenure. In his 2 seasons at the helm, Quinn led Washington to a 17-17 regular season record. He also has a 2-1 playoff record. Of the last 37 hires over 5 years, the author ranks him in the top third of Quinn's peers, writing, "What a difference a year makes." 12 months ago, Quinn was coming off an NFC Championship game appearance, having won the same number of playoff games in his first season with the Commanders. Things have changed. Daniels struggled with injuries in 2025, but Quinn's defense completely fell apart in his second year. The Commanders ranked 30th in EPA by play in points allowed per drive, easily pressured by any minimally competent offense. In 2024, the Commanders finished second in the NFC East behind the Philadelphia Eagles, with quarterback Jaden Daniels leading 4 game-winning drives, leading the team to a 12-5 record in 2 playoff wins, including a road win against the favored Detroit Lions. Quinn faces a crucial season after a difficult 2025. After the playoff run, many expected the Commanders to return to the postseason. Between injuries to Daniels, among others, and defensive lapses that resulted in 26.5 points per game, Washington allowed the most yards in the league in 2025. Nothing seemed to go right for the team. What appeared to be small mistakes and difficulties ended up revealing bigger problems. Quinn risks everything to potentially save his job. If Quinn receives more time, as he claims, Barnwell, so the restructuring of the coordinating team could play a vital role. The team parted ways with offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury and defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr. Quinn hired quarterbacks coach David Blow to lead the offense. Raiders, Steelers, Bills, and Commanders are expected to compete for an $80 million free agent. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Las Vegas Raiders, Buffalo Bills, and Washington Commanders are all looking to strengthen their wide receiver positions this offseason. The Raiders lack a guaranteed number 1 receiver on their roster and have insufficient depth, a major problem for a team expected to select quarterback Fernando Mendoza with the first overall pick in the draft. The Steelers have been searching for a suitable second receiver for several years, but haven't signed anyone, and enter the offseason with DK Metcalf and few other options. Buffalo is in dire straits at the quarterback position after Keon Coleman failed to develop in 2025, and it's still uncertain if he'll remain with the team in 2026. To make matters worse, the Bills also failed to sign Joshua Palmer. In Washington, the only certainty for the Commanders at the wide receiver position is Terry McLaurin, as Deebo Samuel is about to become a free agent, and there's no guarantee he'll return. Considering their respective needs at the wide receiver position, Zachary Pereles of CBS Sports predicts that the Steelers, Commanders, Raiders, and Bills will show interest in Alec Pierce, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, who according to Spot Track projections should receive a 4-year, $80.99 million contract in free agency. Pereles believes the Commanders are the best place for him. Coach Dan Quinn and general manager Adam Peters have expressed a desire to have a younger and faster roster this offseason. Pierce is young, 25 years old, and fast. He led the NFL in yards per reception in consecutive seasons and became the first player since A.J. Brown in 2019 to surpass 1,000 yards with an average of at least 20 yards per reception. Other interested teams: Colts, Raiders, Steelers, Bills. Pierce is coming off his best season as a professional. He surpassed the 1,000-yard mark for the first time in his career, in addition to scoring 6 touchdowns and leading the league in yards per reception for the second consecutive year. Pierce would represent a significant improvement and an element of explosiveness in the passing attack, something all these teams need.
The Colts are likely interested in keeping Pierce on the team, and the 25-year-old has already expressed his desire to stay, but Indianapolis also pays a high salary to Michael Pittman Jr., so we don't see Pierce receiving a new contract with the Colts unless Pittman is released. If Pierce enters the free agent market, he will be one of the most coveted receivers available and will certainly attract a lot of interest. And we expect all the teams mentioned above to at least explore the possibility of signing him in 2026.
Commanders involved in a blockbuster trade with All-Pro could boost Durante Jones' defense. The Washington Commanders are entering a new defensive era under Durante Jones. If Coach Dan Quinn wants this acquisition to succeed, he needs to assemble a team with the right pieces to change the team's course. And one NFL journalist believes Washington could kick off Jones' tenure with a blockbuster trade in a position of real need. General Manager Adam Peters hasn't hesitated to make trades to help the Commanders progress. The acquisitions of left tackle Laramie Tunsil and wide receiver Deebo Samuel SR were successful. However, the blockbuster signing of four-time Pro Bowl cornerback Marshawn Lattimore was a disaster of epic proportions. The Commanders are expected to make a sensational trade for Chiefs cornerback Trent McDuffie. Lattimore is likely to be released this offseason, adding $18.5 million to the Commanders' salary cap. This means another competent coverage player needs to be acquired, and Fansided's Christopher Klein believes Kansas City Chiefs cornerback Trent McDuffie represents the kind of bold reinforcement Jones is looking for. The Chiefs still have a lot of money committed to long-term contracts and probably don't want to offer McDuffie a record contract, which would open the way for a trade. That's where the Washington Commanders come in. Dan Quinn has proven his ability to lead a great defense, but Washington conceded many points last season. The roster is very old, and the defensive back position presents several unknowns. McDuffie could come in at the peak of his career and give the Commanders a new long-term pillar at the defensive end position. No one doubts McDuffie's credentials. He's a relentless containment player in his prime, so this would be an investment in both the present and the future. The Chiefs may also be willing to listen to the proposal, considering the current projection is a salary cap breach of $62.57 million. It's an intriguing theory, but considering how many gaps the Commanders need to fill and the lack of draft-eligible players that would make the Kansas City offer acceptable, it doesn't seem very likely. Washington's priority should be finding tall defensive linemen with good leverage to implement Jones's design scheme. This, in turn, will make the job easier for the secondary players. Keeping the roster at cornerback isn't an option, but Peters might rethink investing more resources, especially considering McDuffie will likely want a long-term contract extension. The 2022 first-round pick from Washington is in the final year of his rookie contract. Spot Track projects that McDuffie will receive a gigantic 4-year contract worth $111.49 million, which equates to $27.87 million annually.